And welcome to a special Friday night edition of Hannity. The left in a state of rage. Well, after getting absolutely demolished in the 2024 elections, Democrats, they had two options. They could have accepted reality. They could have worked with President Trump. They could try to find common ground. Nope. Instead, they woke up on November the 6th, 2024. They chose violence and anger and total rage. They have been completely unhinged ever since. Now, coming up, we're going to bring you the very latest from the pro-Hamas riots that are taking place in Americans' college campuses. Also tonight, she's back, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, once again, back in the news for every wrong reason during a congressional hearing. She actually forced a witness to play a game she called, quote, Trump or trans. I'll explain straight ahead. And later, Jimmy Fallon will give his thoughts on New York's #1 Trump hater, Letitia James, who is now in some potential legal trouble of her own and getting ridiculed by her own constituents. Take a look.
My question is for Tush James. Will you apologize to President Trump for wasting millions of dollars and the state of New York for a witch trial? And how does it feel to know that you will be in prison for mortgage fraud?
We'll check in with Jimmy Fallon, and also we'll tell you about our upcoming Punchlines and Patriots tour. Tickets on sale today. We'll tell you about that. But first, here is, and that's along with Fox Nation, a quick review of the current state of the Democratic Party. Hours ago, several congressional Democrats, the mayor of Newark, New Jersey, showed up uninvited at an ICE facility and breached the perimeter. Apparently, they wanted to secure the release of a violent criminal illegal, one of those gang members detained inside. This was supposed to be a bold political stunt in defiance of President Trump. But the Newark mayor ended up getting arrested, while the members of Congress were ultimately granted a tour of the facilities. Now, according to the U.S. Attorney, Alina Habba, quote, the mayor of Newark committed trespass, ignored multiple warnings from Homeland Security to remove himself from the ICE detention center in Newark, New Jersey this afternoon. He has willingly chosen to disregard the law. That will not stand in this state. He has been taken into custody. No one is above the law. Now, this is a truly pathetic party filled with all this anti-Trump rage, desperate for attention, taken over by radicals. But tonight, this anger isn't just reserved for Donald Trump and Elon Musk. That's pretty predictable. Democrats also, they're even mad at themselves, especially Joe and Jill Biden, that they have now thrust themselves back into the public spotlight. But according to reports, the Bidens, they're broke. How could they be broke? Anyway, with the family syndicate. Anyway, desperately, they need a huge book deal to stay afloat, so they are going back to the well one more time. And, of course, they go back to the, predictable trashing Trump while hoping that every American forgets about Joe's horrific track record as president and his full-blown cognitive decline. Now, meanwhile, the Democratic Party's heir apparent, AOC, apparently she's been very, very busy. Fight the oligarchy, flying around on private jets with Grandpa Bernie, talking about and preaching about the evils of capitalism and climate change on a private jet. Anyway, and then there's Kamala Harris, who is still clinging on to relevance. During a written interview with Vogue magazine, Kamala served up yet another word salad, this one in writing. I mean, no excuse on that one. This time about artistic expression and the passage of time. No, artistic expression and its influence on politics and its ability to, quote, shape the conversation about where we are today and where we need to go. And if you need to go where you need to go, you need something to help you to go to where you need to go so you can go and then go home. And California Governor Gavin Newsom also working very, very, very hard to stay in the limelight, trying to say things he has never said or believed in nearly 30 years in the public eye. I don't know, maybe he can get Elon Musk to give him an AI brain transplant. Now, he's also now trying to distract from his abject failure as California's governor, a brand new website dedicated to fact-checking pro-Trump accounts on X. And just when you think that the left can't get any more petty and desperate, just think again. This morning, our old friend, poor liberal Joe, Morning Joe, couldn't find a nice thing to say about Trump's big new trade deal with the UK. In fact, they almost seem sad and disappointed that President Trump's trade negotiations are actually paying off, like $8 trillion in committed investments from countries and companies for the next 4 years. $8 trillion. Anyway, take a look.
Maybe there's a deal in Canada to happen. The same thing with President Sheinbaum in Mexico. I think you look for what's most likely. Most likely those trade deals are going to come from leaders that he's more comfortable with. And he certainly, again, says he's very comfortable with Keir Starmer.
Yeah, no question there. For President Trump, diplomacy is very personal. I mean, there's the degree of that for most presidents, but this one in particular, it's really whether or not he likes you.
This is relatively low-hanging fruit. If you can't get a trade deal with the longest-standing and loyalist United States ally anywhere in the world over generations, you're going to be in trouble when you're dealing with some of the more obstreperous countries around the world.
It just is nonstop. The state-run legacy media mob, Democratic Party, they just hate Trump so much. They're so addicted to this hate, seemingly rooting for America, and that means all of you to fail. They don't just hate President Trump. They also hate us, you, his supporters, and even other Democrats who don't completely fall in line. You know, political differences no longer tolerated inside the Democratic Party. Take a look at how they're currently treating John Fetterman. They had no issues with Fetterman on the campaign trail, even though he was recovering from a very serious stroke. And by the way, he's done incredibly well. Thank God for him. And by the way, he was struggling to communicate during that campaign. But now that the senator has broken ranks, and he's doing a lot better cognitively, a lot better, but God forbid he broke ranks with his party on just really a few issues, on the borders, on Iran, and on Israel. That's it. Now the knives are out for John Fetterman. One hit piece after another, one attack after another. Now Republicans are defending him. They don't agree with most of the other issues. Tom Cotton remarked, quote, John Fetterman and I have our differences, but he is a decent and genuine guy. The radical left is smearing him with dishonest, vicious attacks because he's pro-Israel, and they only want reliable anti-Israel politicians. Now, his fellow Pennsylvania Senator Dave McCormick also coming to Fetterman's defense, quote, it is time to put politics aside, stop these vicious personal attacks against Senator Fetterman and his wife and his health. While we may have many differences, we are both committed to working together to achieve results for the people of Pennsylvania and make their lives better. He is authentic, decent, principled, and a fighter. These disgraceful smears against him are not the John that I know and respect. Sadly, it's so revealing. Zero tolerance. This is the party of rage. The Democratic Party, the party of diversity of thought, no, that party doesn't exist. This is the party of censorship. This is the party of big government control, high taxes, regulations, broken promises, bankruptcy, climate change, no paper straws, no freedom. You can't have your air conditioner, gas stove, washer, dryer. However, private jets for elitists that are fighting the oligarchs, that's okay. Open borders that allows in known terrorists, murderers, rapists, cartel members, gang members, that's okay. Forget about the safety and security of the American people. And open jails for criminals, lawfare for people like Donald Trump and anyone around him, and of course, men playing in women's sports. The party of compassion, they won't even call or stand up for mothers that lost their children because of their open borders policies, or even a young man who beats cancer. None of it makes sense, but I guess rage doesn't make sense, does it? Until you realize the left wants to upend our entire system, replace it with a one-party, socialist, statist state, communism, socialism, whatever you want to call it. Womb to the tomb, cradle to grave, that's what their goal is. Everything else is just a means to the end, and the rage rules the day, every day. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.